It's okay. I gotta be strong and calm down, but sometimes it's hard. I'm very fragile. I don't have much energy. But anger sometimes can be explosive because perps what they do is they want to act to the point where they want to create this false reality and they're going to stay in character. It's like method acting. The thing is, at this point, in my isolated state as a target individual, I'm every day listening to the truth in regard to what they do. My brain can be manipulated however they want. This is the technology. Let me just say this again. I know what this is about and I understand what I am and what's happening to me, in the sense that why this thing is happening to me is because I was put in a program where human beings are utilized as guinea pigs. The facade, the psyops is that, is create a delusion. Target individuals do not be disoriented in that sense. Understand the entities doing that to you are not these retards living next to you. I know these people living, talking to you, your employers or what, they just participant. This is so much bigger than that. Once you see that, you start seeing them for what they are. But at the same time, what makes me aggressive, not even aggressive, agitated, is they think that, don't you, I was like, how do you not, these people have no shame in the regard of looking like clowns. But the thing is, I know what they do. I know what this program is about, and I know they know that very well. And I know that some of these people doing that to me have done that to other people. But to hear them stay in character when I know the truth and what they do to people, it's just something I can't let that happen. Something just happened where I heard this next door neighbor, and they think they have to stay in character. Their job is to stay within the character. So you as a target individual get identified with this. They want you to make you believe this reality that's falsified. They work on it. They know it's falsified. That's their job. Is to apply this falsified reality onto you and make you acceptive of it. I understand it. I'm not. You get the concept of what they're doing. If everybody around you play it's gonna be our justice. It's gonna be our justice. You know, what this person is involved in. And for me, when I mean that there is no, everything is doable. They torture women. The horror of what they do is horrible, and it's evil. And I'm not saying that because it's just happening to me, like I said before. It's because they can do that to children and to women. I mean, horrible, bad things. It's like atrocities that you watch on the news that's happening in Africa somewhere. But it's done with the 21st century weapon system that these DoD entities have been working on. They're utilizing children and women as test subjects. And the same trash here that would be like, hey, they would do the same thing if the target individual is a woman and with her child. No problem. That's their job. Unfortunately, it's a purpose behind this. It's for developing the technology. I gotta put this back into perspective in that nature. Now, they will vilify the target individual. You understand? They will paint the target individual in certain ways. They have no shame. Those people that you know are here involved in a program that is torturing babies, women, causing mass shootings, this shit, dressed in pajamas, day in and day out, watching you slowly die, are involved in a program that tortures children. Cowardness. But they also, some of them mentally, they're like, right? It's like a child that's just like, don't understand. But for me, I'm like, okay, don't worry, I'll be there for you. I'll be the purpose for you to kind of see things back in perspective. You stay in character, watch how you snap out of character. Not that I'm going to be aggressive. There's going to be a reality. I immediately implanted back in reality. For example, what got me kind of annoyed earlier on is I opened the door. I could hear them talking. I just opened the door. I can hear this trash. Neighbors speaking whatever language. And I could hear them speak, and they're speaking in a way for me to think that there's whatever painting. And I'm like, okay, stay there. You know, one way they like to paint target individual as they manipulate us in different ways, because you're gonna hear the reality of things, and I don't know how to find a way to dumb themselves down and be accepting of it. You hear the nose campaign. This is them trying to disorient me. What they try to do is try to paint you as this child molester, as in you are the threat to children. You're a pedophile, and the reality is the entities that are paying these people, or not even paying, that contract these people, or that allow these people to be empowered in these ways. And I'm talking about the Department of Defense. It's so pedophilia-centric. I mean, so pedophilia-centric. That's the magical part. This is when you know God is real. These people who want to paint you as a pedophile are working for governmental entities where pedophilia is such a problem that in 2019 they introduced a bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act. This is real life. This is something you can look it up. This bill is supposed to limit the amount of child porn this employee from the Department of Defense are downloading, using specifically the DoD network and the DoD computer. They're downloading so much child porn using the DoD computers and DoD network that the prior year they were being ranked for top tier child porn downloading in the United States. Now you understand the level of validation. That first of all, that start from the top. Now this trash out here traveling and they our money. You understand a retard like that can try to make you believe that. It's like, really? So since the Korean War, you've been working on EEG her dining and electromagnetic frequencies to see how you can alter the mind? Really? Yeah, I believe it. You're right. Do you understand how stupid? Why? Because you're a woman. They want you to be dumb enough to be like, no, you're right. This is definitely not the Department of Defense or some kind of entities that have been working on this technology for years. It can be this here. No. This here.
Innocence is being controlled by government-sanctioned experiments. Is Cheryl Rush telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Bedge.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experience. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is a greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Bedge is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction. The ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behaviors of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict and Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems and being able to not just to debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
But how?
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based on Alaska radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Bedge says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response. The brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just be about triggering emotions. You could change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state. pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Can we hear sounds?
I have some next door neighbor who wants me to think that it's their money, that this is not what's happening to me. This trash are working for these governmental entities that have been working on this technology for decades. They're utilizing human beings as test subject for this. The test subjects are not just children, not just women, but children also being utilized for that. And the technology is not just specific to the mind manipulation that's disoriented, disgusting, and manipulative in disgusting ways, but they also torture the body. They can harm you remotely using this 21st century technology. This here. This technology can do this.
1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years.
And we're test subject to this research. What this technology can do to your body is ridiculous. And to your mind. The sophistication of it all is amazing. And they utilize not only your body, but people around you are utilized too in ways to break you down into accepting these ways of manipulating you. They create a persona that's falsified. And this persona is supposed to be a persona where you are a threat to children. And these people are some kind of avengers. For me, they try to do everything possible to let them live that fantasy where these people they're looking for justice. It's our justice. Can you imagine somebody who's involved in doing these things to men and women and children, or involved in something that does that, and you know that they're involved in that? They're involved in this program that does this to men, women, and children. If I was a child, if I was a woman, and I was a target individual, and I was this test subject, they would do what they do. And I know that. And I know some of them have done that. The incentives of this technology alone, not even the financial incentive, could be enough for some of them to want to participate in that. And it's sanctioned by the government, it's run by the government, and it's the program led by the government. And this technology is from the government. And these trash are contracted by the government. And so you can play with a human being using this technology. And this is a government-sponsored program. That alone, regardless of your gender, your age, your whatever your culture, somebody would love to hear. They'll participate just for that. So I know this trash are involved in that. For me, it's just calm down. They've been rewiring my brain in these disgusting ways. They use children. Matter of fact, somebody say black girls, white girls, whatever. Some children's kind of girls. And then start stimulating me. I'm supposed to think that this is happening naturally. That this man described how the brain can be forced to have emotions and sensations. I should not identify with that. Right? And they really want to stick. They have to stay in character for you to accept this shit that's forced onto you. They gotta play the character 24/7, and they have no fucking shame, even if there's validation of all levels that they manipulate people in these disgusting ways. Now let's go back. How they try to make you think that they pay this avenging this trash. You know, I don't even have the aggression to harm them. But especially the woman, this trash ass. But when they say, oh, they're gonna castrate you, I'm like, I swear to God, I was about to castrate myself. And the reason why I say that is because I know what they're doing. They want to create a theatric of torture, so they can make themselves believe that, oh, we are this avenging women that was so evil. No, we're so severe. You're going to castrate it for what you've done. I'm like, I will castrate myself just so you don't fucking go into your fantasy, because I know what you guys do. This is the kind of things that will make me want to come in front of you, scream in pain, because I don't want you to go in anywhere. You know what you're part of. It's not fantasy. You guys are not here avenging anybody. You're involved in a program where people should be avenging for what you've done to them. You should, if there was avenging applied, it should be on to people like you. You are involved in a program where they torture children. And you know very well. Trash like you are involved in this.
Has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to
You see that? My young child and I are being used as test subjects.
long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony.
You have shit involved in this. Say, justice. I was like, I will castrate myself. I'll come move. I ask God to give me the strength, but God give me the strength to run toward it, because these people cannot live that. I don't even want to allow them to give that fantasy. I want them to, when they do that to me, they know what they're part of, and expect whatever is expected from that. Little me, I gotta run to something that's gonna make me scream in pain. But whatever, I have to try to do it, because I know this shit here in these pajamas, this little opportunity involved in a program that can do this. They tell me how they're gonna piss on me. I was like, I gotta run to it too. Do you think this trash like that? I'm gonna show you what dignity is in sufferance. It is my duty to show how bottom feeders you are. She said something about castrate. I swear, I was like, I can cut myself right now. I can cut. Let me calm down, target individual. This is the anger that comes from knowing the reality of what you're part of. And the Perps still trying to play this facade. They want to play this game. They want to stay within the character because they want you, target individual, to believe in this falsified reality in order to counter the fact that you're just being utilized as a test subject. And the governmental entities that run this program, we'll talk about the Department of Defense, are doing that. The second I was putting this program, that was it for me. It ended the second I was putting this program. Right now, I'm just thankful I got the opportunity to speak about it. I know the reality of it. These Perps are so delusional. They're like, oh, you're so done. It's like, I've been done so long ago. I'm so thankful that before I couldn't even articulate this or talk, I at least was able to speak up. I know what they do to men. I know what they do to women. And the most disgusting part, I know what they do to children. Now, I heard this trash say, you molest or something. I'm like, really? Target individual. I'm not perfect, and they're looking for whatever they can use against me. But one thing is for sure, I'm no threat to children, by no means. Never. And when they talk about me when I'm like at the nightclub and grabbing a butt, the damn thing, it's like, listen, you're involved in a program that's zapping the genitals of women. You are torturing women in very sexual, disgusting ways, which of course I'm going to bring it up. But not only women, but children too. And then they're like, no, but what you did when you were a kid. They talk about me in middle school. And try to exaggerate. When they say molesting, they actually try to make me imagine doing that when I was a kid. Having to falsify and create an exaggerated version of what I did when I was a child in middle school. They want that to be molesting instead of the reality of what I did as a middle school kid to myself. You heard what they do to children, right? This woman say her and her young child are being used as test subject where they're being tortured. Psychologically and physically. They want me to somehow just block that out. Hey, pay, I bet. Now you pay for what you did. You what? So let me just imagine this. You involved in a program where they torture children. I see a kid that's in middle school done a dumb thing like that. Who you think I'm going to think is the danger to children? This kid that did this dumb thing one time? Or you trash involved in a program where they torture children? These people are crazy. And the thing is, like, I don't even try to attack them or anything. Like, I just tell them, is it okay? You're going to castrate. I was like, I'd rather get castrated. I'll castrate myself. You think I'm going to let somebody involved in a program that does these things to kids? The things they do to kids is this bad.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working large, severe.
There's a 7-year-old autistic kid.
One day I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a
It's a 7-year-old autistic kid. A 7-year-old girl autistic kid, if it matters, because they forced me to get stimulation when I say that. A 7-year-old autistic child with a 7-year-old autistic child being suffocated using this 21st century weapon system.
State for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome.
They like to do this thing when I see 4, right? Say 4-year-old, remember what you did, pay for what you did as a kid. What I did as a kid, I did something to myself. Never harm another kid. I did something to me as a kid. It was an appropriate act of a child in middle school. And sometimes I get even more angry when I look at the picture of a middle school child. Like, the anger increases because I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are at this level. Now, let me just bring this back here. What did she said here?
Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister.
A 4-year-old Down syndrome and a 5-year-old with Down syndrome, the sister.
Who also has Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow.
Mm-hmm.
I observed
to both of these kids being sexually tortured where they grabbed their genitals. They do sexual torture. Sexual torture is commonly done. They harm the genitals. Listen to this.
This at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain.
A 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old sexually tortured. I just heard some trash say, I have a girl. What she means is, because today what's happening is, when I see a little girl, they force me to get sexual stimulations. Which they say, they made my brain be the brain of a child that's in 8th grade, 13, 14 years old. But in fact, they were trying to mess with me because somebody tried to come at my door. I don't know, it looked like a kid, I'm not sure, but from the door, it kind of looked like early teen, 14, 15 years old. And the kid kind of looked tall, and because that kid appears a little bit older, they try to make me imagine, oh, he's 14, you see, they want me to think that they want me to think that children that age are mentally developed. This white little kid there, he's 14 years old. This is how stupid they want me to be. Now, today, when I see little girls, they're forcing me this sexual stimulation, that this technology that you hear can manipulate you to have. They can play with your emotions, your reaction. Your libido is very much utilized against you. They use libido to break you down. So what happens is they force me to get stimulation toward these babies and force me to get this reaction. And they're like, no, but we mapped it to you as a kid. And some trash say, oh, I have a girl. I little girls. You just heard what they do to little girls. You heard the 7-year-old too. 3 little girls. Suffocated, sexually tortured. And other things. Which they try to counter, but make me think, oh, but they try to exaggerate what I did as a child. Right? It's so nasty. But it's one thing to then start to be like, oh, pay for it, pay. Because then I'm thinking, this trash is crazy. It's crazy because she knows that I know what they do to children, to little girls. If you hear somebody say that is involved in a program that does this horrible mean, this is evil. This is atrocities. Listen, I'm not talking about the evil because I'm going to be tortured in this evil way. I'm talking about evil because kids, babies are being tortured. Infants are being tortured. You understand what it means? It's so hard for me to just maintain my cool. When they play this game, I'm like, so you thought at one point I was going to be like, no, you're right, you guys are protecting kids. And I was going to subscribe to these manipulations that even me think about little girls that can force me to get sexual stimulation. This is how disgusting they are. As you hear how the brain can be manipulated and altered. Oh yeah, they still think I should be thinking that it's their money, even if I know this. Even with this awareness,
in 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be